Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Black Women Talking. And today we're going to take a stab at a weighty topic, which
Mm-hmm.
is narcissism and narcissistic people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're going to formally introduce ourselves in a moment, but it is important for us to say that we are not therapists or psychiatrists or psychologists, because those are the only people who can diagnose anything. But like we're two intelligent women, and
Mm-hmm.
if it quacks like a duck, it has white feathers and an orange bill. So there you go. It's also possible for a person to be a narcissist and have other psychiatric things going on
Mm-hmm.
as well. So, just for the sake of clarity and um, people staying in their lane in the mental health world or the emotional support world, it's important for me to say that. So I'm saying it. So my name is Samsara Morgan. I am a doula. I am an apprentice midwife. I am a family life coach, pregnancy coach, and a mom and a grandma, a lot of other wonderful things. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to be with you today. And Miss Stacy, who are you?
I am Stacy Reed. So happy to be here. It's a blessing every time we get a chance to come together
Mm-hmm.
um, and share our thoughts, our intellect, our knowledge, our feelings, our opinions. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm grateful for our time that we have just to share to the community, to the world, some perspective from two Black women. I am a licensed and ordained minister. I am a life coach. I work in recovery, specifically with sober women like myself. Um, and so, yeah, that's my world, and anyone I can help. And especially, I'm a domestic violent survivor, divorce survivor. So, yeah, I think my opinion matters. So I'm sharing, and hopefully, the point of all of this for me is that I may be a blessing and use those experiences to help someone else.
For
So
sure.
I'm excited about our topic tonight.
For sure, for sure. So, um, I want to invite you, Stacey. I did some research earlier today and I sent information to you just to give us a overview of what narcissism is or what would be the signs of a narcissistic person. So let's have you share that.
Sure. So the reading um, is the definition online, some research that we did. Narcissism, particularly in the context of narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, is characterized by a range of symptoms that manifest in an individual's thoughts, behaviors, and relationships. Some common symptoms. So how do we know, just as random human beings in this world with people, what are some red flags or symptoms that we can say, oh, wait, this may be a narcissistic person. And
Mhm.
again, we're not qualified to diagnose anyone. This is just for educational purposes. Number one, grandiosity, an inflated sense of self-importance where the person may be exaggerating their achievements and talents. They often believe that they are very special or unique and accept others to recognize them as superior. So grandiosity is number one. Number two, need for admiration. Need for admiration. A constant need for excessive admiration and validation from others. They often require praise and may become upset if they don't receive it. Number three, lack of empathy. Difficulty recognizing or identifying with the feelings and needs of others. This can lead to dismissive or indifferent to the emotions of others. So that's lack of empathy. Number 4, sense of entitlement, expecting special treatment or automatic compliance with their expectations. They may believe they deserve more than others and get frustrated when they don't get or receive that. Number 5, exploration of others, using others to achieve their own ends without considering the impact on those people. I'm going to repeat that. Exploitation of others, using others to achieve their own ends without considering the impact on those people. This can manifest in manipulative behaviors to get what they want. Number 6, envy. They may feel envious of others or believe that others are envious of them. This can lead to feelings of resentment or the need to undermine others. Number 7, displaying arrogance. Displaying haughty behaviors or attitudes, often looking down on others they perceive as inferior or less capable. Number 8, difficulty handling criticism. They may react strongly to any perceived criticism, often becoming angry, defensive, or dismissive. Number 9, obsessive focus on success and power. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliancy, beauty, or ideal love. And that's the I don't see a number 10, but those are the 1 through 9, and I'll just list them off again. Number 1, grandiosity. Number 2, need for admiration. Number 3, lack of empathy. Number 4, sense of entitlement. Number 5, exploration of others. Number 6, envy. Number 7, arrogance. Number 8, difficulty handling criticism. And number 9, obsessive focus on success and power.
Let me thank you for reading that. And I just wanted to check one of those things. Is that I was hearing you saying exploration. Is it exploitation?
Yes, exploitation.
Exploitation. Yes. I was like, wait, not gonna exploring anything. They're just being horrible.
Yes. My apologies.
No, no problem. No, no problem. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling so many things about this. I mean, anything right down from colonizer behavior, folks who came in and saw other people living there and having no regard or empathy for them, possibly being jealous of them and the way they live.
Correct.
Exploiting them for their natural resources. I mean, there's just so much of that.
Right.
The first thing, of course, that comes to mind are relationships. And what was the first thing that came to your mind to reading all that?
just first of all, I can relate to all of them. But the ones two that really stick out for me in my experience is number 1, lack of empathy. Like, not only are they demanding of their expectations, you can't show any type of, correction, criticism, etc. All of those symptoms, right? But the lack of empathy as to how their behavior and their actions impact others is still, in all of my mid 40 years of living on this earth, it appalls me that when I try to engage or speak to these people, especially if I'm trying to find resolution or peace or some type of middle ground, right? I never get the validation or the self-accountability of how, even when I'm describing my feelings or my thoughts or the collateral damage that this relationship, whether it be friendship, business, or romantic, the
Right.
collateral damage that is tangible, like forget my feelings, when I pull out credit card statements, okay? Or when I've lost property or business, like tangible, factual, dated time, okay? Not only is it not validated or, validation, any self accountability, but they have absolutely no empathy in past. I'm sorry. If you get that, they equate I'm sorry to, oh, you should trust me again. Oh, you should stay in this relationship. Oh, you should like, and they never get tired of pulling and asking and begging and like, I could go on and on. So the lack of empathy for me is, that's number one. Um, yeah, I'm gonna stop there before I get to the other, the lack of empathy.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason why this is such a challenge, it's a challenge for me because I really feel I've experienced so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like even before we hit the recording button, like I was already thinking about my childhood
Mm-hmm.
and my both of my parents were very abusive in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But my father was directly abusive, and his uh his abuse of us, I would put in that narcissistic category,
Mm-hmm.
sociopathic, mm, maybe kissing the lip of psychotic.
Right.
But of course, I can't diagnose anything, so I'm just talking about the experience of being that man's daughter, which was really painful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's another piece that I didn't do research on, but there are different kinds of narcissists as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's the narcissist that will hurt you, steal
Mm-hmm.
from you, lie
Mm-hmm.
to you in your
Right.
face. And then there's the narcissist, I'm forgetting the name of it.
COVID, covert narcissist.
There's there is not covert, maybe not, but there's a narcissist who's always weak.
Hmm.
So they are always the victim of somebody. They're
Okay.
always the victim of somebody, and they're always getting other people to engage with them and help them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is that term? It's killing me that I don't remember the term. And my mother was that one, the
Mm-hmm.
one who was
Mm-hmm.
she was the chronic victim
Right.
of my narcissistic father. So she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't protect us because she was too busy thinking of herself
Mm-hmm.
in her
Mm-hmm.
victim state.
Right.
But even when she wasn't a victim anymore, she didn't take care of us.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it always got to be about her. And my
Mm-hmm.
father, it always got to be about him. And me and my siblings did the best we could,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It's really, and then what do you do? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had mentioned to you that there's the worst ex ever is on
Yeah, on
Netflix.
Netflix. Mm-hmm.
What is Netflix this year has really got the frightening documentaries on it. Have you got to see Baby Reindeer yet? I'm gonna bug you till you see
A
Baby.
little bit. I started it and then I got off on something else. But
Reindeer.
I immediately saw the worst ex ever. And like I mentioned to you earlier, I mean, I thought and I know I've survived a lot of things.
Mm,
Um, a lot of get back when trying to exit a narcissistic, abusive marriage and other relationships. So but to see and hear the stories, and a lot of the women too also mentioned, and I'm glad Netflix is really taking a lead role in producing these type of documentaries, because several women said, for instance, one said, had I known that leaving an abusive relationship is the most dangerous time ever for a woman to be murdered or killed,
Yes.
had I known this, I wouldn't have made some of the decisions, like telling him I want a divorce or telling him I'm leaving without a plan, right?
Yeah.
And so that really resonated with me, along with how the criminal justice system did not believe these women, no matter, I mean, serious injuries, serious attacks, to the point of their non-action caused these men to go on and murder and kill other women and other victims along the path. And so, until people end up dead, right, you get absolutely no help, and a restraining order does not keep anyone alive.
It truly
So
doesn't.
I
It
was very, grateful. Of course, we don't want to hear stories like this, but the statistics say women are being killed every day by narcissistic spouses and relationships, etc. And so, yeah, the criminal system, I mean, literally had one of these ladies locked up for false charges
this
of
man
armed
raped
robbery.
this man raped her.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
he's out walking free. She's
On
trying to
bail.
report that he raped her in her home, in the basement of her home.
Mm-hmm. Out
And
on
she,
bail. And it sets her up with 4 counts of armed robbery based on getting other people. And that's another thing about narcissistic personalities, right? They'll use if they can't get to you, they will use other people to harm you.
it is, I'm at a loss for words, which is really bad when you're trying to make a video. I'm at a loss for words because it is so overwhelming. I mean, the sense of your personal vulnerability.
Yes.
I mean, I know it's a big part of the reason why I am just single right
Mm-hmm.
now and
Mm-hmm.
doing very
Mm-hmm.
well with that. Thank you very much.
Yep.
But so many of this particular type of human being seems to lurk on the dating site.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's and although more violence is done in this country by men than women, can be straight up narcissists as well. So we need to definitely put that out there, that there are men who are similarly afflicted with a partner that, and I can imagine this, as bad as it is for women, imagine being a man. I mean, I've definitely served families where the husband was being abused and there was no support for him,
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
physically supported,
Right.
excuse me, physically abused.
Right.
And people kind of look at him like he's like, what's wrong with you? She's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Right.
But yeah, but he was a good boy that was taught that he was supposed to punch women. And here's
Mm-hmm.
this woman punching him. And so what's he supposed to do?
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious about your thoughts about what we can do.
So,
How do we spoke earlier about your peace and wanting to keep your
mhm,
peace, and that's so important.
right.
So
Um,
yeah.
so I'm, as you can maybe tell or notice, one of the really, it started off as a DV, protective fight or flight um choice that I did years ago, was flee to hotel rooms. But then outside of the DV experiences, I started to use hotel rooms for times where I needed my own mental sanity, and I needed to be in a place where I could hear my own voice.
Mm,
Uh, And so right now, it wasn't a crisis that sent me to a hotel, but now because I have years of therapy under my belt and learning how to use my coping skills and recovery, etc., I know when it's time for me to not flee, but plan a self-care day or two in a hotel so that I can handle either business or just literally sleep. Sleeping does great things for my body and mind.
Sure.
Um, I love hotels with swimming pools and hot tubs. So I love to swim, exercise, peace and quiet, setting out time to do things like what I'm doing now with you, has been very, very helpful. And then wanted to reference a Instagram post that I heard a young lady speak, and she was speaking of you know, being involved with users or takers, narcissistic personalities. And one thing I remember her saying that resonated even a week later, I said, I'm going to bring this up, is that she said, you know, I had to learn that when I feel compelled to keep giving to people, like narcissistic friendships, relationships, whatever, I'm pouring out and giving and giving and giving because it's the love that I want for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so she, you know, she went on to explain that instead of now giving and pouring out to people who are undeserving of her, she now does that for herself. And so although, you know, it's very difficult for me to break that pattern of people pleasing and pouring out and giving so that I can get it back,
Mm-hmm.
um, subconsciously or unconsciously, I will do it, to get into a place, in really a spiritual praying place, meditative space, where I can give that time and attention and really enjoy my own company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not to say I don't get lonely. This is not to say, especially when leaving or breaking up from narcissistic relationships, that loneliness is a bleep, 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 bleep.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I am rested and when I do eat healthy and well, and find myself in more of a spiritual, healthy place, um, it does make me value and appreciate my own company. Me, like I like Stacy. I like hanging out with Stacy. I think she's a dope chick, you know?
That's good.
Um, and then finally, so that's two examples. Finally, just setting boundaries. Just setting boundaries, not in a bad way or a negative space or unforgiveness space. It's just it's important for me to set boundaries with people, period.
Right.
Um, and understanding their role and their place in my life. So that's
Right.
it.
Right. Right. Don't completely agree with everything you just said. And you know, the personality types attract each other.
Mhm.
And so the person with a grandiose sense of himself is going to be attracted to, or her or herself or itself,
Right.
whoever is going to be attracted to somebody who doesn't have a sense of their own self,
Mhm.
and
Correct.
click into that
Empaths.
person.
Right.
And then they get to feel more powerful sucking up your life force energy.
Right.
And they will, like a tick,
Mm-hmm.
be sucking up your life force energy. So like in my line of work, which is around parenting and baby making and baby having, it would be really nice if we would give some time and attention to our little children.
Mm-hmm.
These
Mm-hmm.
people who are comfortable putting their babies in a room and letting them scream and cry till they fall asleep on their own. Personally, I mean that is Poor little child. It
Mhm.
seems like as soon as the baby is born, we want to put it in another town,
Right.
in another room with
Mhm.
a baby monitor and
Mhm.
watch the. I've had families that would be sitting in their living room watching their baby on TV because
Mhm.
the monitor appears on their TV screen. Why can't that baby be on your lap?
Mhm.
Why
Mhm.
can't you be touching that baby? Human beings, we are primates. You look at our primate cousins, they're all curled up with each other all the time,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
you have boys and girls going out to the world with a great big empty hole inside of them, which
Mhm.
could have been filled by just being aware and loving parents,
Mhm. Absolutely. Mhm.
and boys get it. A boy's got about 6 months to be a baby.
Mhm.
Then he's got to be a man. I can't even tell you how many people when I was raising my sons like, oh, you're gonna make him gay. And I was just like, thank God I had the sense.
Mhm.
Either my baby's gay or he's not. Me kissing him is not gonna make him gay.
Mhm. Mhm.
No.
Wow.
With ignorance. So if your toddler son falls down and you are a authentic mother,
Mhm.
your child fell and you go pick him up and you love him up, get him a glass of water.
Yeah, I will definitely say that's a problem. And
Massively.
then we wonder why, people grow up numb and, you know, don't show empathy, don't, are not emotionally just available.
No. You can
Right.
only do what you've been shown.
Mhm.
Again, going back to our primate cousins there. If
Mhm.
if a if a little chimpanzee is not raised with other chimpanzees, it doesn't know how to be a chimpanzee.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah.
So as a little human, and you haven't experienced love and
Mhm.
that deep, beautiful love between a newborn particularly its mother, but of course, all the family members, but particularly the mother, because the mother is still the life force for that child.
Mhm.
I talk to my clients about the fact that that their first step in their relationship with God is their relationship with you.
Mhm. Right, correct.
So what kind of God are you giving your child?
Mhm.
Harsh, dismissive, you're on your own?
Mhm.
Is that what you're wanting to teach?
Right,
Or is it that always forgiving, always loving, ever present?
right, right.
Even if you're a 13-year-old, you have the worst day at school, mama's gonna sit by your bed and stroke your back,
Mhm. Exactly. Mhm.
right? So I've definitely been on the warpath about that for raising my children, from raising male children.
Right.
Because one of the first things I realized was the world attacks males. And I'm a mother of black. I'm a black mother. I've got black kids. The
Mhm.
world, specifically this racist, ridiculous country, targets them and goes after them. I've had to do battle for them with teachers. I have to do battle with them with the law.
Mhm. Mhm. Mm.
And thank God for my therapy and to be able to do that for them so they can definitely love a woman,
Right. Right. Right.
give a
So what,
darn for
oh,
baby.
and I hear you mention therapy. What other ways, self-care ways, um, do you practice, I guess?
Well, my
Um,
relationship with God,
mhm.
my religious life is very important. Now, that came before therapy.
Right. Amen to that.
Yes. I mean, I born and raised Catholic, and then in my 20s, you know, you get
Mm.
defiant and foolish. Um, but when I was ready to come back,
Mhm.
um, I was warmly welcomed and received, and and took great peace just sitting in church crying. I mean, that you can just sit there and some nice little old lady would come hold your hand. And that was the first step. I was like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. This is not right. And I want that peace, that inner peace came from being in church and being involved in my church. Um, therapy helped me to understand what peace even was, because, you start doing therapy or going into spiritual environments where people are meditating, and people that go to a peaceful place. I
Right.
had no concept of what does that mean?
Right.
And to be able to raise your hand and say, I don't have a concept of that, and have people not think you're crazy because they understand. Like, we get it. Got it. Okay, so imagine you're in nature. Imagine that you're sitting by the beach. How do you think you might feel sitting by the beach? And I was like, I guess that might be nice.
Right.
But there is a lot of inner repair work that has to be done. And I do think people make that mistake of trying to get that part. And I certainly made that mistake several times, trying to find my peace in another human being. That is
Yes.
possible.
Yes. Yes.
That's not going to work.
Yes.
We can
Absolutely.
only attract somebody as
Mm.
healthy as we are at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what wonderful therapist said that to me, and I wanted to punch him when he said it.
It's true.
But it's
It's
true.
so true. It's
It's
so
true.
true. It's so true.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yes, it is so true. That's important, you know, the love and the peace, it's nice when we get it from others, but the responsibility to have for ourselves is key. Like to give it to ourselves, to love ourselves, to have what makes us peaceful, to really discover and find what those things are. Because like you
Mhm.
said, a lot of people don't know, and we're looking for it in people, places, and things. And you mentioned God and spirituality, and the love of my life is still God, but the church at a very young age, was my safe place until my previous marriage merged. I merged marriage and ministry together.
Yeah.
And so that time, and again, experiencing narcissistic collateral damage through that divorce, going to church was trauma for me. So
Oh, yeah.
I had to find, literally, I'm like, I'm not understanding why when I go to church now as a former pastor, former first lady, whatever, all I can do is sit there and cry. Like I had to figure that out. And a therapist had to tell me, because it's part of my trauma. Like you have to find, unfortunately, I had to grieve that church was no longer my safe place.
That's, I can't even tell you. That makes me want to cry so
Yes.
much.
Yes. It was when I say extremely painful, it was extremely painful. It's one of the greatest deaths of my life. And then still trying to navigate, well, I do still have this calling to minister, and trying to find it, how can I live out my life purpose while I'm in tragedy and then
Right.
outside of tragedy,
Right.
and even a decade later still trying to recover from that marriage and that divorce and bankruptcy and loss of homes and loss of ministry. And so one of the other things that helped me was AA,
For sure.
in the 12-step program.
For
So the
sure. For
12-step
sure.
program, along with therapy, and other acts of just rehabilitation, helped me a lot, helped me find a I wouldn't say a new relationship, well, not a new relationship with God, But kind of coming back to and recreate, just all
Can
relationships
I,
grow,
can
right?
I,
To develop.
can I say something about that based on my knowing for you for a long time?
Sure.
My opinion about that, and
Mm-hmm.
you totally tell me if you don't agree. You don't,
Mm-hmm.
that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw happening with you was that you were developing an adult relationship with God
Wow.
because you were,
Yeah.
you're a
Wow.
beautiful, sanctimonious, gorgeous, in the most positive way, little girl. Like you just
Yeah.
glowed with the love of Jesus. You did, and you still do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's one thing to love as a child, but then you have to love as an adult.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people let go of their faith because when they get that fire of what it
Mm-hmm.
means to be a Christian, then it's
Right.
like, I'm doing everything right.
That's it.
I'm doing everything right, and it's still not working.
Wow. No one described it like that. When I say that makes perfect sense, because I remember the moment that I was in the bathtub. I
Mhm.
hadn't lost my house yet. So I'm in this big bathtub and I couldn't open the Bible, because I didn't know it at that time to like put words to it. But I was angry with God because I said to myself and to God, I did everything you asked me to do, like
Right.
everything, married as
Right.
a virgin, went to divinity school at
All
22
the
years
rules.
old. And so I felt not only abandoned by my ex-husband, right, pastor, but I felt completely abandoned by God
Yeah.
in the church. That, by the way, when I left, found out it's so many narcissists in the church.
Another piece.
Oh my God.
Another piece. Right.
And so, yes, no one put it, because by this time I'm in my 30s, no one has ever described, no, this is what an adult relationship with God is.
Because little ones are blessed to just be able to, unless they're in an unsafe environment,
Mm-hmm.
if they're being loved, they can just walk in faith. The faith has not been tested.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No one's broken your little heart yet or told you lies. You know what I mean? You just,
Mm-hmm.
children are sweet and innocent and perfect. That's why Jesus spoke so highly of them
Right.
and was not happy with people who hurt them.
Exactly.
To be godly is to be like a child,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you grow up and the world is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see these, you question between this loving, love, wonderful God and this world, which is often not loving and not wonderful. And how do you hold on to faith then?
Mm-hmm.
If you only think that the child's relationship with God is very simple, an
Mm-hmm.
adult's relationship with God is very complicated.
Right. And let me
That's
say this,
Mhm.
when we talk about and also why we do our videos as well, community and having a support network
Yeah,
um
how about that?
is so key.
Yep.
And one of the saving graces, um, and I share this with a lot of people, that I was very fortunate at the time to have a support network, even in my addiction,
Yeah.
because I had, prior to this, I had always valued um women that were not wiser, older, my seniors, like my closest people within my support network, even before I had a name for it, were people who lived life prior to me. I'm biracial, love my mother to death, but she could not teach me how to navigate as a Black woman in this world. So you, my godmother, my aunt Zizi,
Mhm.
other women, um, I always kept some type of connection with um women like yourself that when I did fall or didn't have words, and that's why I love that we are sharing these videos, did not have the language
Yeah.
to put words on what I was experiencing. And when we share and connect with each other, because some people don't have a support system in a
Yeah.
network,
They're lost.
but
Yeah.
hopefully they're watching these videos, right?
Mhm.
And they can identify, like, oh, wow, she said something, or she spoke something, or she named it. What is narcissist? What is that? And so, yeah, support network, having a village of people that can hold you accountable as well in your
Really
growth and your
true.
maturity with God.
It's really, really true. I mean, we have to tread lightly as our religions are expressed through other human beings,
Yes,
right? And so
yes.
the human beings have their issues of being human. What is their path? Where's their support system? How they take care of each other?
Mhm.
And some folks are doing a really piss poor job.
Right.
And their folks are not sounding any way. I'm grateful for the word of Jesus that we have available to us
Yes.
through
Amen.
thousands of years and
Hmm.
how many editions, but
Yes.
the word of Jesus stays clear through it all.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
are to love one another and
Hmm.
we are to love God. Boom, boom. It ain't complicated, but
It's not, love your
it
neighbor
is in
as
this
yourself.
world,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. And so that's one of those things that I'm very grateful that we get to continue to speak to in your adulthood, because that's one of the things that I'm keeping an eye on for my grandchild who's 23 and is just went out into the world, right?
Hmm.
You and she, it's like parenting is not over when they grow up and move out of the house. Because if you've raised a child to have certain beliefs, even if you've raised a child with self-esteem, there are women, there are others, because I watch a little bit of true crime. There are other women who were strong and clear and whatever, and
Yeah,
still found
absolutely.
themselves in situations,
Absolutely.
right? So whatever helps anyone to maintain their self-respect.
Hmm.
You talked about honor code.
Hmm.
Who
Hmm.
are you? A
Hmm.
child doesn't know that. A
Hmm.
child is putting that together.
Hmm.
An adult is getting to a place where they kind of know that.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
got gray hair now. I think I have a really good idea
Hmm.
who I am.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and I love what you said earlier about, you like Stacy, you want to spend time with her.
Hmm.
And I'm doing that same work. It's like I do. I'm a very social person.
Hmm.
Um, and since COVID, whenever that's totally been messed with.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, am I wanting to be social because I'm avoiding something?
Hmm.
Or am I having a hard time being alone because there I am?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
once you're alone in a quiet room,
Hmm. Hmm.
there's your inner child. And are you going to love that child? How many
Mm.
parents have I helped love
Mm.
their children?
Hmm.
Have I been there for that little poor insecure part of me? That's brilliant. That, once you give babies a couple hugs and kisses and then they're perfect. Their life is perfect, right? And there's creativity and passion and exuberance and rapture from a well-loved little child.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think what we want to leave people with is that it is all our job, in my opinion, to really get to know and embrace our inner children,
Hmm.
to really look at our story of how we were raised and look at ways when we didn't get our needs met
Mhm.
And we want to address that.
Mhm.
Not, people might have to go through a period of anger about that. I went through a period of being really angry with my mother. Um,
Mhm.
and then continuing to work on that. I don't, I'd still have moments of being angry with her. I gotta be
Mhm.
honest about that.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. Um,
Mhm.
but it was with her, it was hard because she was the angel in the story. My dad was the devil. She was the angel. And so as
Mhm.
a little child, I had to have a parent. So
Right.
she was it. And
Mhm.
so again, growing up, looking at things as an adult, having my own children and seeing what I needed to do for them that was not done for me.
Right.
I think now it's not that I'm blasé about my story at all. I have a lot of love and empathy for myself as a little girl, like a cute little girl. She got no love.
Mhm.
She got, and certainly if you ask my mother, she would say she loved me. I don't think my father would. He doesn't, he knew he didn't know what love was. He didn't even play with that. But my
Mhm.
mother said she loved me, but she was
Mhm.
confused about what that meant too. And
Mhm.
based on all of that, I had this hole in me that
Mhm.
made me hold on to people who I thought would keep me safe
Mhm. Mhm.
for
Yes.
whatever reason,
Yes. Mhm.
financially, emotionally, spiritually, if I wasn't tight with God,
Mhm.
whatever it was, whatever I felt my safety was.
Mhm.
And that is not stuff, that's you don't go shopping when you're hungry, right?
Right.
You're gonna come home
Right.
with junk food.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So I think, you know, whatever that is that will help heal the parts of you that feels bad. And I would say that if you're a narcissist, I mean, narcissism is a spectrum, and there's
Mhm.
some narcissists who can be healed. There's some people who can't be healed or choose not to be healed. But if you um, sense that you're a narcissist,
Mhm.
know that that is because you have been wounded
Mhm. Absolutely.
and you deserve to heal.
Mhm.
And you deserve to stop hurting others.
That's right.
Nobody's soul can be at rest doing that. Even with all the bravado, deep inside, you can't feel good about yourself, harming
Right.
other people. And
Right.
those folks are capable of a great deal of harm.
Mhm.
And for women or folks who are being abused by narcissists, it's about us getting that we don't deserve to be treated poorly, ever.
Ever.
There's never anything that we have done that we
Mhm.
deserve to be treated poorly.
Yes. And I did want to, for those who are out there and who are wondering if they fit the category of being an empath or being
Mhm.
abused in or outside a home or relationship, I did want to put the National Domestic Violence Hotline number on here, and that number
Please.
is 1-800, and we'll also tag it on the video as well. One
Mhm.
800 799 7233, or you can text to begin 88788, which is a safer way. If you don't feel safe to talk or have a conversation, you can text, and I believe it's some type of private chat that they do.
Mhm.
So you can text 88788. And also there's a chat button and a website button that you can go on as well.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
For folks who are in a situation with a narcissist that is physically dangerous, it is really important for you to take care of yourself. You
Mhm.
deserve to live. Love
Yeah.
should not hurt. Might be challenging. You might have to learn communication skills, da da da. But if someone is hitting you or hurting you, stealing your money, hurting your children,
Mhm.
that is not love. Whatever story you are being told about that, that's not love.
Mhm.
You know? So calling The hotline is a wonderful first step to get you some information, get you support, therapy, shelters. My heart goes out for gentlemen because, to my knowledge, I don't know about shelters for men. What if you are a dad trying to keep your children safe? My heart goes out to you. But whatever needs to be done, get the lawyer,
Yes.
document everything.
And there are not many shelters, but there are recovery homes, there's sober living homes, both for male and female. If you reach out to this number, they should have local, information,
Resources.
like, yeah, especially crisis hotlines, male or female, no matter the gender, the
Mhm.
sex,
Mhm.
no matter any and everything, like there are resources out there. Probably more women, obviously, than men, but I'm
Yes,
sure
there
if you
has
do
to be
call
some.
one of these crisis hotlines, they would be able to direct you in the right instructions and path.
Yes. And you deserve safety, whoever you are out there, and you're listening to us speak. You're looking at two women in deep recovery around their lives, and we're blessed for it.
Yes,
Um, and you deserve that peace of mind as well. You deserve to feel safe, even if it means that you are alone for a while.
absolutely.
Best to be alone and alive.
Absolutely. Another thing I do want to, just from my memory flashing back,
Mhm.
um there were times where I did run the hotels and tell them after an incident, like I'm fleeing a domestic situation. And speaking to a manager, sometimes I would be blessed to get a night stay or whatever. And then also, obviously, you can call or go to the police department, and they also have resources as well too.
Hopefully, because sometimes the police are not very helpful, but you have
Yeah.
to give it a try.
Mhm.
And that's a really good idea to just say, listen, I'm fleeing a situation. Can I have
Yeah.
shelter?
Mhm. Yep, absolutely.
If you don't ask, you don't get,
Mhm.
even if you
Absolutely.
have to sleep in your car, which is
Mhm.
not the most safe place, but
Or another place is social services, wherever your local social service office is. Same place where they provide food stamps, informations about food pantry, especially if you have children. If you go
especially,
there in person with children, you get immediate hands-on assistance. Like they will not let you leave out the door without some type of shelter. A lot of them, depending on the state and area,
depending on the
they
state,
do have hotel vouchers
that's
for
right.
DV people who are leaving domestic. Again, especially if you have children. Now, in my case, I did not have children. So unfortunately, I was homeless living in my car in other places. So um, again, I would start with the 1-800 number. If you're interested in life coaching or again, speaking with a survivor, give my email address. That's Stacy, Stacey, V as in Virginia, REID @gmail.com. And one day I'm gonna get that website with that
Yeah,
website up. But if you email me, I check my email every day and I would love to offer any assistance available.
there you go. So there's so much more that we could talk about. I think that we have done a good job of
Mhm.
scratching the surface.
Yes.
Um, I want to wish anyone who watches this video joy and peace in their life with the God of their understanding. Um, and this video is offered to all who watch it as a blessing, and I hope that it's received as such.
Amen.
Bye bye.
Bye.